What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Guys, Christmas is right around the corner, and my favorite Christmas movie is where that quote just came from. Die Hard. And if you don't think it's a movie, fuck you. My guy, Evo.
It's a movie.
How are you doing? I'm sorry. If you don't think it's a Christmas movie.
Christmas movie. We don't know. Other than the fact that it takes place during Christmas. Is that the only litmus test? Just the movie has to take place during Christmas time?
I mean, there are several things that play into the Christmas theme inside of Die Hard. So for that reason, I consider it a Christmas movie. Now, if you want to talk about it like Santa and all that, we've seen a lot of Christmas movies recently not be like that at all. Like Red One, we just watched that the other night. The Rock is an elf, and he's protecting Santa Claus, who is apparently a badass J.K. Simmons. Like, I feel like Christmas movies, there's a really big-ass fucking range in which you could be.
Wouldn't Castaway? Isn't Castaway almost like a Christmas movie? Isn't he trying to like fly home for Christmas, and then he has to go fucking volleyball on a beach?
Yeah, so I don't know about the Christmas thing, but he definitely did fuck Wilson. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, but we're men. We have needs.
Yeah.
Ask our wives.
Yeah, he's going to stick his dick in something. But, guys.
Welcome to Raw Dog Sports.
Welcome to Raw Dog Sports, baby. We've got a fun show. We got a lot of games to recap, and we've got a few games to go over because the Christmas season is upon us, as we were just talking about. We got 3 games on Thursday, right?
Yes.
We got a Thursday night game on fucking
Amazon
Prime. On Amazon Prime, you got 2 games over on Netflix. Netflix is going to have a corner on the entire market on the day's TV, essentially, because as soon as that night game starts, that Thursday night game, that's when fucking Stranger Things drops, and ain't nobody watching that goddamn football game.
Oh, I am, because I don't watch Stranger Things.
You don't watch Stranger Things?
Yeah, it's their religion.
Really? What religion is that?
I don't know. The one that doesn't watch Stranger Things.
Got it.
Agnostic.
So you're one of those people that just do you not watch things strictly because other people like them?
No. I gave Stranger Things like a couple episodes and just kept falling asleep.
All right,
so do it for me. I definitely recognize how popular it is and understand that I probably would enjoy it, but if I gave it the time, but because I haven't, now I'm so far behind, I'm kind of like, I'll save this for my next deployment. There
you go. You're not planning on doing that anytime soon, are you? Leaving the old schoolhouse?
No. It's just a military trope. I would do that all the time. New seasons would come out. I'd be like, I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to save this for the next time that I'm in a hooch in Afghanistan. Yeah. This will get me through a couple days.
I understand. I feel that. My man. We had a pretty decent weekend. I was out at the Browns game. It was a fun watch. But we did okay on our picks. Not great, not bad, but I mean, we
both were hitting right around the 2/3 mark. Not terrible. So getting a decent amount correct there, and we might as well just toss this up here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Week 16, you went 9-7. You brought your overall percentage up to 55%. You were at that 55% mark, which is what we're looking for. Nothing to complain about there. I went 10-6, just one better, and that brought me up about 7 percentage points. 7 decimal points up to 59 again, which I liked seeing the 59 number. Obviously, want to work higher than that, but I'm happy if I'm at 59 or above by the end of the year, since we are looking at our last 2 weeks of regular season football coming up here real quick. If I'm able to hang around that, I'm feeling pretty darn good about the year.
Yeah, I mean, if you maintain this, is pretty spectacular. I don't remember what we got that first year where you were at, but I remember last year doing only spreads. I was very pumped about being able to hit up at that plus 50% mark. And now with the added bets, like I think 60% is going to be a fantastic number. Now, if we went through and I don't know if we're going to do it again, because obviously we're starting to get down towards the end of the season. We're going to stick with this model because I like this model a little bit because it gives us options. But maybe we'll ask the people what they want to see, because we've done it multiple ways now. We've done spreads and money lines. We've done only the spread, and we've done spread money line or over under. So
Yeah, I like having the options personally. More options always allows us to navigate a little bit, but it's what people want, what they need from us in order to help them with their gambling and their betting and whatnot. While we always want to hit on high percentages, we're here for the people and making sure you get a little bit extra cash in the pocket.
hell yeah, that's exactly what we're here for. So let's take a look at some of these games, man. I had a great morning slate. Started out really well. My afternoon slate was not so great. And once again, I cannot hit an over to save my fucking life. 45 and a half, and I can't get an over. So that's all. And partially one of the reasons where I don't really give a shit about the over unders, because every time I've played one this year, with the exception of the first week on an under, that failed every single time. So, but I mean, not a bad week, not a bad week at all. Evo, you had a very, very nice day, nice week.
Yeah, it was saying that afternoon slate was kind of more difficult. Where we saw more of our cluster of issues, but overall, not a bad day. And again, look, you went 9-7, I went 10-6. We're right there neck and neck pretty much. And we're hitting more than we are not, which is always a good thing in the gambling world.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I mean, good week. But now it's time to highlight some players specifically, because it's time for our off the hook players of the week.
Off the hook. Off the hook.
All right, off the hook players of the week. My off the hook player of the week, Brock Purdy, man. It balled out last night, 25-34, 295, 5 touchdowns, and the 49ers get a big blowout win of the Indianapolis Colts. I actually got into a little bit of a spat over on the YouTube in the comment section because I said that the 49ers are boring. And this person does not apparently agree with that sentiment. But I don't like necessarily watching blowout football. However, when your quarterback goes out there, throws for almost 300 yards and 5 touchdowns, how can you not love that? I mean, Brock played great. The 49ers are a damn good team, but I still think they're boring. However, Brock Purdy was not boring last night. He's off the hook.
Yeah, look, super solid game from him. Big game there versus the Colts, and obviously the 49ers kind of hold a lot of their destiny in their hands as far as playoff seeding and everything. So big game from Purdy. And this is why you see, Mac Jones did good things keeping that team afloat and still in the positive while Brock Purdy was out. But this is the reason why you paid Brock Purdy a lot of money, because he can go out there and put up these sorts of games versus a pretty solid defense there from the Colts. They just kept outpacing that team the entire time. But for me, my off the hook player of the week is one who had a hell of a time. Unfortunately, it probably isn't going to turn out great for him. But old DK Metcalf, spectacular day, 4 catches, 42 yards, no touchdowns. That's exactly what we're looking for, right? But this is more about the off the field stuff. And it's literally on the field, but towards the side, because if you haven't seen the video yet, there was an altercation between DK Metcalf and a blue-haired fan, I believe it was a wig, there for the Detroit Lions, a fan that apparently he's had previous altercations with.
Yeah, which is
from the vantages that we've seen, it looks like DK grabs the fans, I don't know, hair, shirt, jersey, something, and throws a punch. Obviously, words were exchanged. Not a good look for him. Not a good look for the NFL. DK says that he said a racial slur towards him, I believe the N-word, and called his mom the C-word, which is never good. But other fan video from the stands doesn't seem
not have any of that in there.
Yeah, which it's not saying that it didn't happen, because who knows how long beforehand the guy said anything.
Right.
However, when you're a professional athlete being paid a lot of money, you do have to kind of find ways to temper those issues. And if this fan was someone that was called out in a previous year by DK as doing these sorts of things and notified by security, he should probably be doing the same thing again, and lobbying to try to not have that fan be able to attend games anymore. That's something that has happened before, and the NFL has taken care of it. When fans act like that towards the athletes, a lot of times they get banned from NFL games. That being said, as of right now, DK Metcalf has been suspended 2 games for this interaction. He's looking to lose a lot of money from this. Roughly $555,000 per game is what he'll be losing. But more than that, the numbers are run, the contract is looked over, and he could be losing a lot more money. We are, as of right now, if the suspension is upheld, because obviously he's going to try to get it reduced or removed altogether, it's going to void not just the rest of his salary for this season, but also $45 million in future guaranteed money, $25 million guaranteed next year in 2026, and $20 million in 2027. If this happens, bad news for DK, because he's going to lose out on a lot of money. But it's something that the Steelers actually could stand to benefit from, because if all this money is now voided, no longer guaranteed, if they are going to continue to be around a 500 team, if they're not going to have a quarterback next year, if they're going to be looking at an aging roster that needs to rebuild without a whole lot of cap flexibility, they might have just gotten $45 million of guaranteed money back to allow them to be a little bit more flexible. So depending on how you're feeling as a Steelers fan, look, DK Metcalf has had some really good games for you this year. And lately, he's had a lot of snoozers where he's been not worth the money that you paid, not worth the picks that you've traded. Those picks are gone. That's done and over with. But the money is something that you need to worry about going into the future. And so that might have just freed up a little bit. So it'll be an interesting thing to watch. He was definitely off the hook this week.
Yeah. The Kalen Zacharias Metcalf was certainly off the hook.
Yep.
Oh man. What a week. What a week. With that, man, should we start hopping into some recap? Because I know we got a bunch of games to get over, and you guys might be taking off up to northern Arizona later today.
Yeah, we got trips and things planned, and it all depends on health here locally, because I know you're a little bit sick out there. And
yeah, if I have to get up and leave, it's not because I don't want to listen to what's happening. But I just spent the last 24 hours thicker than all fuck. Throwing up, shitting. I mean, apparently it's running all over. My whole house has had it. It's not fun. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. But if I have to get up and I don't say anything, it's probably because I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah, fair enough. And we got, both Dario and Demetria are here from Ohio, picked them up earlier this week, and things have been going good. But, one of them was a little bit sick when we got him, and things have exacerbated. Sounds like the flu. Ended up having to go to the ER last night, which it's funny because we go to the Canyon Vista ER in Sierra Vista. And then they're like, hey, do you guys want to sponsor us on Raw Dog Sports? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. And so that's going to lead us into a real quick sponsorship or cease and desist. And that is today's episode being brought to you by Canyon Vista Emergency Center in Sierra Vista, Arizona. So Canyon Vista, the hospital, heard general good things about, been generally healthy, haven't had to go there, but I've had a few run-ins at the ER, and it's always been absolutely top-notch terrible. Just the worst experience that you could possibly have. Now, if you go to the ER, it's going to be a bad experience anyways. But it probably shouldn't be loading extra things on your plate from poor care, poor bedside manner, and very, very obviously incompetent doctors. But that's what you get at Canyon Vista ER. When the nurses are pleading with the doctor, don't discharge this patient, you aren't looking at their vitals, and they go, you know that you're getting that quality care that you can expect at the Canyon Vista ER. I don't have to just be the one here talking bad about it, though. We can look at some of the reviews online. Let me just read a couple. Was seen within an appropriate time window. Misdiagnosed. Discharged without treatment. Received a ludicrous bill. for my non-diagnosis. Tried to call and talk to the hospital staff about this. They won't answer their phone. Now I'm talking with my lawyer. That's a nice 1-star review. Second review. Wasn't given basic needs after waiting for 2.5 hours. No hydration, no IV, no news from any provider. There for 8 hours before I saw someone. Red button, didn't send any assistance. Those sounds like good things in the ER, right? Getting quick care. No empathy, no compassion for patients. Not allowing a patient who was brought by ambulance and had the ambulance crew say this person needs to be seen immediately, not be seen for 3.5 hours.
Jesus.
That
was
sounds
egregious.
That sounds like the ER is working good, right? I love it. This facility will outsource all of their bills to the Philippines. Good luck trying to get in touch with anyone to clear up a bill. Also, they've just put the month and year that you go to the hospital and no specific date, which makes it super interesting for insurance to figure out how to pay. This is Canyon Vista ER, a fantastic emergency room. If you are dying, just stay home in your bed. Bleed out there. Die from whatever illness you have, because otherwise you're going to do it in a shitty place and your family members are going to be left with a terrible bill. I know our experience last night, again, being told you shouldn't leave by a nurse. This is bad. And the doctor saying, you're good. And then no medication, no nothing really. Just, hey, go out and buy a O2 monitor and monitor things. That sounds good.
Yeah. We've had our own run-ins with Canyon Vista when we were down there in Arizona. Amber actually spent several hours at the hospital, like laying in the fucking middle of the goddamn hallway just to get an IV because she had a kidney infection. Like it's insane. Yeah. That place is tip top. Tell you what. Thank you for the sponsorship, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that they will try to charge us for that one, but that's okay. You can hit up the LLC.
Boom. Good luck. It doesn't make any money yet.
Nope.
Well, we have made money, but we spend a lot more than we make.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. You ready to get into these games?
Hell yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. So we've already discussed with you the Thursday game, Rams, Seahawks, fantastic Thursday night game. But that takes us into our Saturday games, which we obviously have picked for you, but haven't discussed yet. We had the Eagles and the Commanders in Washington. And this one actually was a lot closer than it should have been for a little bit. Commanders had the lead at halftime, 10-7. But then the Eagles ended up coming out ahead, ultimately getting the win in this game, 29-18.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anytime you get a backup quarterback coming into the game, your chances of winning are pretty fucking low. Like, Eagles are a good team. The Commanders are not. There's not a lot to say about this game. Saquon got going a little bit again. The Eagles need that to continue because playoff time's getting ready to ramp up. The things that travel the best, defense and a running game. So if they can get their defense playing good and their fucking Saquon going, they will have a chance to still go and compete deep into the playoffs, maybe even repeat as a Super Bowl champion. But, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about this Commanders team. They're beat the fuck up.
Yeah, obviously they're still playing. This team hasn't given up yet completely because they went into halftime, like I said, with a lead, but they weren't able to maintain it, which makes sense because that roster is just so beat up. Another good note for the Eagles, they got A.J. Brown going in this game as well. Obviously he's been, we'll call it just an issue with that team, whether it's lack of targets, lack of production, him getting on socials. So him being involved, 9 catches, 95 yards is a good thing for them in the long term.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But unless you got anything else, we're going to move on to the next one. Taking a look at that AFC North matchup. Packers take the loss to the Bears.
NFC.
I'm sorry. Did I say AFC?
Yeah.
My bad.
It's not all about your Browns, Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals.
Well, those teams all suck. So these two teams are actually good. And we saw an interesting thing happen in this game. Jordan Love was playing maybe average football when this was going on. And the moment that Malik Willis came into the game, that offense looked way more dynamic than it did with Jordan Love. Now, in the end, the Bears come out with the win. They're going to be leading the division now, by 2 games technically with the tie.
They are 2 games ahead of Green Bay. Yep. They are 11-4 now. Green Bay is 9-5-1. So the Bears are 2 games ahead there.
So, like, Bears, good spot. But let's have a conversation about who the fuck should be playing quarterback in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's interesting that we go through this every time. Obviously, Mike and I have our thoughts on Jordan Love. There was recent MVP talks, and then the Toyota-thon thing kind of failed last week. And now we're looking at a Packers team that, Jordan Love goes out. He's playing, good average to above average football against this Bears defense, which is susceptible, but they are a high variance turnover team. They are able to get a lot of turnovers and a lot of splash plays. But you've got Jordan Love, who's 8 of 13, 77 yards, not a bad day. But he goes out with a concussion, and then Malik Willis comes in, and you expect a heavy dose of the run, because that's what Malik Willis was kind of known for before, was a running quarterback, not a great arm. But Malik Willis kind of makes the offense look like it is operating just as good, if not better, than when Jordan Love is in there. And he goes 9 of 11, 121 yards and a touchdown. But then he also puts up 44 yards on the ground. So he is actually more of that dual threat compared to a Jordan Love. I personally think Malik Willis's accuracy looks on par with Jordan Love, if not better.
Dude, that's the best he's ever thrown the ball. That's the best Malik has ever thrown the ball. He looked damn good.
Yeah. So it's interesting because you did pay a bunch of money to Jordan Love. Malik Willis is on this short-term contract. I believe it's still the rookie contract that they traded for, and he's going to be a rookie next year. And it makes you question a lot, like people were with Brock Purdy and Mac Jones. Is the money worth it for these guys? If you don't have other options, then yeah, a lot of times the money is worth it. But when you find a guy like a Malik Willis, if you bring a guy in and he's starting to perform good, perform better possibly than your normal starting quarterback, you actually have to have some tough conversations. And I'd be really interested to hear from Packers fans what they thought of Malik Willis's performance, especially in comparison to Jordan Love, because, obviously the Packer diehards are probably all about Jordan Love, I would assume, but we hear it from, even local Packers radio shows. They don't think that they can win a championship with this guy because of his inconsistency, the lack of a clutch gene, the accuracy issues. And I have to agree. I think Jordan Love can and is a decent quarterback. And I actually had a conversation with myself in the truck the other day, driving home from work, thinking about football as I do. And I was like, I don't have the same sort of hatred that I have all my life towards the Packers. I still hate them. I don't have the same sort of hatred as a Vikings fan as I used to, and especially not towards the quarterback position. I had pure hate and vitriol towards Aaron Rodgers and towards Brett Favre. And I just don't feel that towards Jordan Love because
he's not that.
He's not that special.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't scare me at all.
Right. No, I feel that, man.
So is that the type of quarterback that you want helming your franchise? And I don't know, especially not at the number that you're paying.
Right. I agree, man. I thought Malik looked really good. The game plan obviously had to change him running the ball. They ran the ball a fuckload, 44 times. Obviously, not all of those were designed runs. Malik takes off. That's a run, but it wasn't a designed run. I thought Caleb kind of came in clutch at the very end. Found a way to make a big play when it absolutely needed to happen. And that's something that we've kind of been wondering, like, is he going to be the dude that can elevate, right? Because he's very talented. He's going to make mistakes because he's a little bit of that gunslinger, but can he elevate when he absolutely needs to? In that game, he kind of showed he was able to.
Yeah, this is what the upside of Caleb Williams is, especially coming out in the draft last year, is you have a whole bunch of issues with Caleb for sure, and no quarterback out there is perfect. But he does kind of have that clutch and magic gene to him where he can make things happen when he ultimately has to. Now, his day wasn't bad. He was 19 of 34, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. But it was kind of pedantic. It was not special up until the last couple drives where it needed to happen. And they really turned on the Jets. it took an onside kick, which you said shouldn't happen, but then all of a sudden they recovered
And they
it.
fucking got it.
And I don't disagree with you, but it worked.
It did.
And it felt like everything was clicking for that Bears team at the end. It felt like the momentum was in their favor. They were able to get to overtime, and they were able to get this win over the Packers, over a huge division rival, to set themselves 2 games ahead of said team in the NFC North. It was a really fun game to watch. I don't like rooting for other NFC North teams, but I do like to root for good football, and it was entertaining. Just like that Thursday night game, it turned out that we had a really good Saturday night game.
Hell yeah. Listen, and that's one thing that I was trying to talk about earlier when I was talking about the 49ers. They're a good team, but watching blowouts is fucking boring, right? Like, tell me if I'm wrong here, but
unless it's your team.
Unless it's your team. And that's the thing. If it's your team beating the shit out of somebody, who doesn't love watching that? But for the overall consensus of football fans, nobody's sitting there watching a fucking blowout. That's the reason that they change games on TV when there are blowouts, is because most people don't want to fucking watch them. But I digress. Ready to move on to the next one, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting into our Sunday slate of games. First off on this list, we have the Bills versus your Browns, game that you were at there in person. Bills end up getting the win 23-20. A pretty damn close game there. But overall, this is less about the Bills because obviously the Bills have a good team. They had a win at the end of the day. You would hope to see a little bit of a bigger blowout versus a team that they realistically should have beat. I think it was double digits point spread here. 10.5, I think. James Cook, super solid day. Whenever James Cook runs well, that team seems to win. 16 carries, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But we need further assessment, your take on how Shedeur performed. And then obviously we have to talk about the terrible injury to Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, so Shedeur had an okay day, up and down. I mean, he's a rookie. Looked really good to start, 8 for 8, touchdown, right? And then things started to break down a little bit. You get the drop / I mean, and here's the thing. The first interception is on both Shedeur and Quinshon. That ball is behind him. It's back here, right, on a Texas route. So that's a tough catch. But Quinshon also is a very good fucking athlete who I know can catch the ball. And it hit him right in the goddamn hands. So that ball goes up into the air, interception, and then things kind of start to change from there. I thought we hung really tough for the most part. Now, it helped that Josh Allen kind of hobbled himself at one point in the game by running around, so he wasn't as mobile. But, you know, we played offensive football in a very passive way again. It feels like that it's kind of been what is happening. Shedeur was very aggressive in his first few games, but this game he was not. Like, you look at the stats, 20 for 29, 157 yards. That's 5.4 yard average. And that's not something that we've typically seen out of him. Now, the Bills did do a good job. And we heard Shedeur talk about this in the post game. Like, they were disguising things. Like, they were, you know, trying to show Tampa 2 and then they changed it to cover 6s. Like, so all that stuff is out there. Knowing that, it's important for Shedeur. Like, obviously he can tell coverages, which is something that people knocked him for. But like, there are still problems that he has because while he can see what's happening, sometimes he doesn't execute fast enough. He's got to be quicker in his processes, I think, is one of the small issues. But like, we saw him do some really special things that I don't think people knew that he was capable of doing, like moving the pocket and then taking off, breaking pocket and making plays happen with his legs. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card that Shedeur was going to be the fucking leading rusher against the Bills of all people. So there were some good things and there were some bad things. It's just the process has got to speed up just a little bit. He knows where things are at. And it also doesn't help that he's got fucking defensive linemen in his lap as soon as he gets the ball. Was it KT Levinston is the worst tackle I have ever fucking seen, dude. He doesn't block a soul. I don't know why he has a job. So, I mean, it's tough to evaluate the quarterback. It's tough for a lot of things to be figured out, but we were able to hold on to the ball for so long in this game. Like, we're sitting in the stadium. I'm like, Jesus Christ, we've held the ball for 32 minutes already. And we were at like just the start of the fourth quarter. It was insane how long we held on to the ball, which is why we were able to keep this thing close. Time of possession worked out. We didn't give up any massive special teams fucking plays. Now, they could have scored a lot more. James Cook was running all over us, but we just were able to hold on to the ball. Where do we go from here? You would like to say that Shedeur played decent and that we are going to continue to see him progress, and that Kevin Stefanski didn't necessarily make any stupid decisions. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. At this rate, where our team is going with the injury to Quinshon Judkins that we'll talk about, and the lack of offensive line, the poor receiving options, what can I ask of Shedeur? What can I ask of Kevin Stefanski? Truthfully, and I fucking hate Kevin Stefanski, but the roster construction is obviously very bad. That's an Andrew Berry conversation, but he just had a great draft. We have so many things to get answered about this Browns team. Like, I think Andrew Berry probably gets promoted, is no longer a part of personnel at all. I think Kevin Stefanski probably gets fired. And I hope that we go on with Shedeur, but I don't know. I don't know what this team is going to look like because we don't know when we're going to get Quinshon back. They say it's a 6-month injury because he's got the dislocated ankle and the fractured fibula, very similar to the Scatabo injury. So it's possible that we could see him back at the beginning of next year. I don't know. I mean, it looked fucking nasty. Like, even from where I was sitting, I was like, oh, he's fucking hurt. And I don't watch the close-up views of people getting fucking their bodies manipulated in ways they're not supposed to. I don't like that. But when on the field, I was like, oh yeah, he's fucked up. Like, just the way his leg, like, it was bad. And that also really kind of changes the game plan for what's going to happen today. Him going out completely changes what you have to ask of Shedeur. Because while I like Raheem Sanders, you would not expect the same level of production as you would get from a Quinshon. But he did. I mean, he played pretty well, 11 for 42. Raheem was good. It was fun. I enjoyed being out there. I'm glad our draft position got improved. I don't have a ton of things to say about this team other than I will hope that Shedeur will continue to improve week by week and we can hopefully build around him. But there's just so many things that are working against the Browns that it's tough to see the positives.
Look, the rest of this year and the past couple of weeks really have just kind of been gravy. This is you're not going to the playoffs.
Right.
Right now, it's just where are we going to be at in the draft and where are we going to get out of development, specifically at the quarterback position. I think everything that you've been describing with Shedeur is first-year starter stuff. This is first-year rookie type of stuff where not reading things as quick as you should. That comes with time. That's absolutely normal for a rookie. But you're seeing way more positives out of him than you were from a Dylan Gabriel or any other quarterback that you trotted out there. And so that's a good sign. The scary part is if you do move on from a Berry or a Stefanski, the next people that come in, are they going to be willing to take the incumbent quarterback who has a short resume and not the best resume? Not that it's bad necessarily, but are they going to be willing to commit their time to him? Unless that head coach is a Deion Sanders or something like that, who is obviously going to have some nepotism there. But you also are asking a guy to go out there as a rookie and play behind a tattered offensive line, now down a running back, and have limited offensive weapons. And he's getting it done to the tune of 20 points. I mean, those are positives that you can roll into next season with. I still think that you guys aren't that far off. Obviously, the defense is elite. Didn't get to see the record be broken by Myles Garrett, unfortunately, but he's right there. He's close. But if you start to correct that offensive line, if you add a couple offensive weapons, things can look a lot different there in Cleveland on the offensive side of the ball. And that'll mesh good with the defense. And I think proper coaching can make that happen. So I would continue to roll with that. And now it's just, let's see where we can get in the draft, who we can bring in, if we can trade some picks and and get some more capital and hopefully have another gangbusters draft like you did this last season.
Hell yeah. That would be great. That would be great. But you ready to move on to the next one, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, we have the Chargers and the Cowboys. Chargers end up getting the win here, 34-17. Big offensive production day from the Cowboys, but still not enough. And they are eliminated. So there's probably going to be some of those characters in the locker room who aren't as necessarily highly involved in what's going on. But a really good day from the Chargers. A great day from Justin Herbert. Marion Hampton back involved, 85 yards and a touchdown. Good win here from the Chargers, and the Chargers need to keep kind of stacking these together as they roll into playoff time.
Yeah, absolutely. Marion Hampton had a great game. Justin Herbert, great game. This Chargers team is very good. If they can find a way to block things up, they're a good team. And listen, this Cowboys team has been better recently. Their defense has been better, especially that D-line recently. But they went into this game knowing they were eliminated. It meant nothing this game. It would have been nice for them to win, I'm sure, but I think that there is something to be said about the demoralizing factor of knowing that you're playing in a meaningless game at this point. When you were, trying to fight for a playoff spot. So well-coached Chargers team. Cowboys, we'll see what happens with this team, man. Because George Pickens is a question mark. What's going to happen with him? Which is just hilarious when I think about the DK Metcalf situation as well. Pittsburgh's got to be so fucking angry. Now George has his own headache at times as well, but they're going to have to figure out a way to generate pass rush. And how much better can this team get? They have a solid offense, right? Can you really rebuild this entire defense in a year to make this team competitive?
In a year, no, but obviously if they are able to hit on draft choices, if they're able to make some solid acquisitions in free agency, like we've seen a boost from that defense. The Cowboys we saw in the latter part of the year up to this point versus the beginning of the year, dramatically different on defense, a much better defense. Eberflus probably needs to go. This did not work there, and he was dealt a losing hand of cards when you traded Micah Parsons. But you do have some good pieces there still. Some young guys in the secondary in Savon Ravel. You need to draft good. You need to inject primarily into that defense to try to get it going because you've got a decent run game. You've got a good offensive line. You've got some fairly solid receiving options. And you obviously have Dak, and you know that he can go out there and perform. So getting that defense right will make them a much more competitive team.
All right. Let's head on to the next one, brother. We got the Chiefs and the Titans in a game that we both called, but that's because we kind of figured the Chiefs were going to pack it in because they knew that they were done too. Patrick Mahomes was done. Well, fucking Gardner Minshew was done too. Chris Oladukin, who I had
Oladukin.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
We had to look this fucking guy up. I thought that was a make-believe person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, San Diego State, I think, or South Dakota State, something like that, a jackrabbit. But he's the third string quarterback who ended up having to play a bunch in this game because Gardner Minshew, despite all the mustache powers that he had, went down with a knee injury, originally feared to be a torn ACL. Turns out it's not, and he's not going on IR yet or anything like that. But more than likely, Oladukin is going to have to be playing at least the next game, if not both of the final games here. And it makes sense at this point. You don't need to trot out your starters too much more. The season is lost. There's no playoffs. You've lost your MVP in Pat Mahomes. This is play the guys lower on the rosters, see what you got, and try to retool for next year. But for the Titans, it made them look like a real NFL football team for probably the first time this year. Because
they look pretty good.
Cam Ward, good game, 228, 2 touchdowns. You have Tony Pollard going out there putting up number one running back style numbers, 21 carries, 102 yards. And you have receivers. The ball got spread around to a bunch of different guys. It made that offense look like they were a actual offense.
Yeah, they played a good game. Cam played is probably one of his better games of the year. And this is supposed to be a really good Kansas City defense. Once again, I don't know how invested they were in this game. But yeah, Cam balled out, man. And then you get Tajay Spears popping in there too, having a good day, over 100 total yards and a touchdown. So they found ways to get it done against a supposed to be pretty good Kansas City defense. I'm just trying to see what names in this defensive stat line that I notice.
Are you familiar with Chamari Connor?
Chamari Connor? No, not.
Mm.
But you know, it is what it is. Good for them. I'm very happy that the Titans won. It would appear that they are a better team than the Browns. And because of that, we're going to get a better pick. I think the only team that's going to be worse than us is probably the Raiders. The Giants could get a win because I don't see maybe we get a win here on out, but I don't know. But Titans get that dub and move us into a way better draft position.
All right, next up, Bengals and Dolphins. This was one that I had hoped that the quarterback swap. Well, I'm not a huge Quinn Ewers guy. I don't think that he's the answer there or anything. You know, we were hoping to see something from the Dolphins there. At least I kind of really was pushing that narrative. Maybe we could see the Dolphins fight and keep Mike McDaniel's job. But then ultimately I ended up picking the Bengals to win this game, and they sure as fuck did. 45-21. Not a good game there from the Dolphins. An Austrian game for sure. And that makes sense because Quinn Ewers did end up throwing a couple interceptions in this game, 20 of 30, 260 yards, 2 INTs. And they try to keep it relatively consistent on the ground. But you saw the Bengals offense do what they can do, be who they can be. 109 yards from Jamar Chase, 53 from T. Higgins, and then spread all over to a bunch of different people. And a ginormous game from Chase Brown. I think 3 total touchdowns on the day for him. Yeah. This was the Bengals offense kind of flexing their muscles that they do have the ability to be that insane sort of offense there. It's just a bad defense typically. But you were going up against a Quinn Ewers late round draft pick, first start, who has his own set of issues. And they were just completely able to outpace this Dolphins team.
Yeah, listen, I spent the week praying on the Bengals' downfall. That Joe Burrow was just going to pack it in and say, fuck this team. But he came and balled out. He played like Joe Burrow. And not Joe Burrow that wants to get the hell out of Cincinnati Joe Burrow. So it didn't work out in my favor. Good for the Bengals. Good win. Dolphins stink. Quinn Ewers, I mean, he's a rookie. It would have been nice to see, the Bengals lose again, but their season's already over, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to listen to them fucking talk about making the playoffs. So good win by the Bengals. Good win by the Bengals.
Yep. And then next up, we have the New York Jets going versus the Saints, and we had another good Shuck game. Yeah, another good Shuck game here. Shuck went 32 of 49, 308 yards and a touchdown. We did see your fantastic whites.
The exciting whites, baby.
Which, Taysom Hill, I didn't even know that. I knew he was out there playing football still and doing stuff. But I didn't know how involved he was with the Saints team because shame on me. I don't watch that many Saints games because they're not an exciting football team right now. But hey, they get themselves another win. They continue to kind of play themselves out of a better draft slot. So this phenomenal tank situation isn't working out for them. But another good game from Shuck, and it's going to really start to bring in some questions of yes, you were playing against the Jets here. And yes, he's had some good games against some bad teams. But he also is a rookie on a bad roster, much like Shadur is. He's a rookie came in the middle of the year on a bad offense. Maybe there's something there that you want to roll with going forward, especially in a draft that isn't going to be loaded with a lot of quarterback talent. Give him another assessment year next year and then go into 2027 knowing either we got the guy or we need to look for a guy. And I think that's what the Saints probably are doing right now is, hey, we think that Shuck might be the guy. We're going to continue giving him some leash here, see what we got, maybe roll into next year and give him a chance. And then either it works and we're good or we go into the next draft and look for a quarterback. But good on the Saints here for getting another win. Jets, obviously, with Brady Cook, they are a roster. They've put together a roster on an NFL team, but they aren't looking good right now in any way, shape, or form. Aaron Glenn obviously should have been given a lot of leeway going into this year because they were a bad roster to begin with.
Yeah.
And we know that, he's definitely a motivator type of coach and can get guys on defense to produce above their level. But it'll be interesting if the Jets are willing to actually stick with him like they should probably, because he was given such a bad roster. He's already starting to get combative with the media and stuff like that, though. Like, there's a potential that we could see a shakeup there. But yeah, this Jets team right now, just not good.
Yeah, not good. Now, listen, if that Jets team decides to part ways with Aaron Glenn, he'll have a job immediately back up in Detroit. In some capacity, I would almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to remove Kelvin Shepard right away or anything like that from the Detroit DC.
He would go he would go and back and be a unless somebody else wants to hire him as a coach. But you get fired after 1 year as the Jets head coach. I don't know that anybody's going to be looking to hire you again as a head coach. It would make the most sense to go back, be a consultant, and then look for another fucking spot. We see coaches do this shit all the time. They like their guys. Everybody, it's a very tight-knit community. So,
and what it is, like Aaron Glenn is a good defensive coordinator. He is a good motivator. I think that he has good head coach potential going forward. And I do think the Jets should probably stick with him because that should have been part of the contract. Hey, we're going to suck for a couple of years because you guys suck. This team sucks. His roster sucks. It's going to take a bit. But it didn't happen in a day with Dan Campbell in Detroit. But if you give it time, it can work out. But let's say they did move on from him. You are going to have a lot of head coaching vacancies this offseason. And Aaron Glenn comes in as a defensive coordinator right away for one of those groups. And I think does well.
Yeah, I think so as well. Back to this game real quick. Taysom Hill balled. Man, he, like I said, he fucking just randomly will have a pop-off game. They'll just get to be an exciting white game. And for some reason, when you told me like Audric Estime was the starting back, I was like, well, he's not explosive at all. Like, they're going to try to do something. What I find crazy about this entire thing is that Shuck threw it 49 times again. They are just letting the kid eat. And you know what? I'm a known Shuck hater. He's playing well. I can't hate on somebody who's playing well. I was not a fan of his in the pre-draft process. When he first started playing, I didn't think there was a huge difference between him and Spencer Rattler. This is a fucking pretty good game. He played pretty well here. So I will give him that. I'll eat a little bit of crow and say that, you know what? Maybe Shuck can play a little bit.
Look, I think that Shuck has Davis Mill potentials. Like they both have the ability to go out there and be relatively high-end backup level. And this is pejorative to Shuck right now, but like I liked some things from Shuck. I liked some of the potential in the draft process, but I also was very cognizant of the issues that were out there. I mean, we've all seen the videos of him throwing and just doing some wild shit, both in college and in like combine drills and stuff like that. So he can be a little bit goofy with it. He's an older prospect. Like, there's a lot of things that you don't want to lean into as a franchise quarterback, but a guy that is cheaper, that is on your roster, that can go out there and throw the ball around and win you games. Like, I like what that sort of guy brings out there, just not at the draft pick that they brought him in at. But there's some good things there with Shuck. We call him how we see him, and he's having a good little run there for the type of player that he is.
Absolutely. But that's going to take us to our next one, man. And it's your game. We had the Vikings get a win over the Giants, 16-13. Your boy, JJ, goes out in this game. Max Brosmer comes in, does not throw 4 interceptions, and you guys are able to hold on to the win. We were kind of talking, and you guys just fucking ruined Jackson Dart's day. Terrible day from Jackson Dart. I mean, you look at the stats, 7-13, 33 yards, an interception, 5 sacks for 20 yards. That's fucking crazy. That's Bo Nix numbers, baby.
Yeah, this is our Bo Nix player of the week right here.
Yeah, this is the Bo Nix player of the week, Jackson Dart.
Yeah. Look, it was much worse than the stat line actually is. At one point in time, I think he was 2 of 6 for like 4 yards. It was a rough day, and that's been Brian Flores' defense like the past 6 weeks. I believe it's some NFL record now that 6 weeks in a row, defense has held the other team to no passing touchdowns. Brian Flores is doing great things with this defense. We need to get him locked down long term because he still is without a contract leading into next year. I want to pay him head coach money. Fuck it. Like, pay him the head coach money because he deserves it, because he's going to be a head coach again someday. Whenever the NFL figures out the legalities and stuff like that, he's going to be a head coach. You need to keep him here as long as possible because he's doing wonders with this defense. But the storyline does definitely devolve to the offensive side of the ball. And I don't know if you got to see any of this game.
Not really.
JJ McCarthy
after the fact in the
it was a third game in a row. JJ McCarthy was looking fantastic. It was probably the best that he was looking.
Well, that hurdle into the end zone for the touchdown, I was like, damn, JJ came to ball.
Yeah, he was having a phenomenal game. Statistically, he had 3 drops and 3 incomplete passes at one point in time. I believe it was 12 of 9 or 9 of 12 at one point, and the 3 incompletions were all 3 drops. A drop in the end zone that Jordan Addison had and just let go of for a touchdown. Justin Jefferson dropped one, and Jalen Naylor had one go right off of his hands, literally in the pocket, go off his hands, and that was the interception. A second interception happened the same way, but was called back with Jalen Naylor as well, where the play actually was ran back for a touchdown, and they called it back because Abdul Carter was offsides or over the line of scrimmage at the snap. And so we got lucky there. The receivers, he had over a 90% adjusted completion rate when you discount drops. The interception, 100% was on him. His accuracy was great this game. Wasn't overthrows or any of that stuff. It was just the receivers let him down on a couple throws, which tarnished the stat line a little bit, especially with that interception. And then the one knock that I will have on JJ from this game was the play that ended up taking him out of the game, kind of, where we had a free rusher, Brian Burns, off the edge. It was designed that way. He wasn't blocked because it was supposed to be a wide receiver screen. And he tried to dirt the ball and lost it because 2 plays earlier, he had hit his hand on a helmet. And we don't know what the injury was yet. It's either a dislocation, not a break, or some sort of a contusion. But the team hasn't come out and said anything, unless they have this morning yet, which is very possible. But he couldn't grip the ball. So he had come over to the sidelines, had not really said anything about the hand being an issue. They went out, ran the ball, and it was fine. And then that next throw, couldn't grip it. And so he lost the ball when trying to dirt it. And that's on him, I guess, for not saying, hey, I have the injury, or not noticing, or not being able to dirt the ball more effectively. That being said, the bigger question here now is we have 3 injuries this year, a season ender last year. Is he injury prone? For me, it feels like a lot of these are one-offs. None of them are the same injury. We've had a torn meniscus, a high ankle sprain, a concussion, and now a hand issue. All separate things. Some of them can be avoided. Some of them can't. They're just playing football. And it concerns me because he's going to possibly get this injury-prone label, which he never had prior to last season, never had injury issues. And now all of a sudden he's having these problems. Look, he looked really fucking good yesterday up until he didn't, up until that last fumble. And a lot of people want to put things on him for why are all these receivers, he has the highest drop rate. It's something like 17% of his passes are dropped by receivers. And people want to say, well, it's because he's throwing the fastball. This is the NFL. It's a professional football league. Brett Favre was breaking people's fingers because he was throwing it so hard. It's not like there's not quarterbacks out there who don't sling the ball hard. These receivers have let him down this year. That's Justin Jefferson included. And I think Justin Jefferson would be the first person to come out there and say, I have let him down this year, because that's one of the things I love about Justin Jefferson the most. He's having a down year. It is a bad passing offense at times because of J.J. McCarthy growing. You've not heard him bitch or complain once.
Right.
He hasn't subtly put out a tweet or insinuated that he wants to trade. He's got JJ's back in every fucking press conference. He has been the consummate professional Absolutely not what you see from an NFL wide receiver. Zero diva. And I fucking love that about Justin Jefferson. I can't thank him enough for being such a good fucking steward of the game and of this team. That being said, like I love the growth that I'm seeing from JJ. And it's unfortunate that he has this hand issue. And unless it is just a dislocation, we got a Christmas game coming up that he's probably not going to be able to play in.
Yeah.
Which
and that sucks, man.
Balls.
I'm sure you were looking forward to that. Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, we're not going to the playoffs, but we're seeing the team still fighting, still playing. We beat the Giants here with our undrafted rookie quarterback, Max Brosmer, who had himself a decent day. He had some really high-end throws, actually. But, like, we want to see the development. We want to see him go out there. And we don't want to see JJ keep getting hurt. So that sucks. Overall, good job by the team to still get the win. Heavily on the shoulders of the defense there. Really gritty play from Aaron Jones. Jordan Mason goes down early with an ankle injury. So does Aaron Jones. And they both were sitting in the blue tent at the same time. And they said, hey, we're taking Jordan Mason out and we're probably taking you out too. And Aaron Jones said, no, like, I'm going to keep playing. Like, if he's going out, I have to keep playing. And Aaron Jones struggled out there with an ankle injury the entire rest of the game. It was gritty, 21 carries for 85 yards. But, I hate my Packers, but I love that Aaron Jones, the type of player that he is. I hated playing against him for years, and this is why, because he's a good player. He's not as fast or as nimble as he used to be, but he's a damn good football player still. So I love his service there with the team. And, yeah, people are going to be pissed. We got another win. We're moving down a draft. I think we're picking 15th now. Fuck the draft slots. Who cares? I want to see the development.
Listen, I need the draft slots because I got a lot of holes on the offensive side of the ball. Like my entire offensive line as a whole. So I'll take the losses. But I completely understand why you're okay with getting the wins. You want to see JJ progress. You want to see your team do well. And it's going to kind of segue. I always think about that.
I want to see spoiler. The next two games are home versus the Lions on Christmas and home versus the Packers. We got chances to spoil their seasons.
Hell yeah. So I like that. That's always fun playing spoiler. I think about that quote from KOC. Teams fail their young quarterbacks am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Teams fail their young quarterbacks far earlier than quarterbacks fail their teams, or something along those lines. So the idea of getting rid of JJ or dumping him, it seems unfathomable because of who KOC is and that mantra that he has, that these young quarterbacks get cast off when it's not necessarily on them. So I cannot see anybody like the team trying to move off of JJ. And speaking of, quarterbacks who, have really made progress that we were calling a bust, we can go to the next game, man. Bucks, Panthers. Panthers get a win, take a huge division lead, 23-20. Bryce Young, 2 touchdowns in this game. Outplayed Baker. I mean, Bryce Young is one of those guys that we thought was a bust. Maybe it just took a little bit of extra time for Bryce to get into a rhythm. Because listen, he's got this team at 8-7. Now, I don't think the Panthers are very good. But they've got some offensive weapons, and they're finding a way to get it done. And this game was basically all on Bryce Young to win because the running game did nothing. So were we off on Bryce Young? Is he turning the corner to be a guy that can go and lead his team to the playoffs all the time? Or is this just an aberration because Baker and the Bucks are hurt as fuck?
Yeah. I don't think that we're wrong on Bryce Young, but you are seeing what happens if you give a quarterback time to develop. You're seeing him hit more of his peak. At the end of the day, Bryce Young is going to be limited because he's physically limited.
Yeah.
And it's not like a Peyton Manning situation where you're physically limited. He is small in stature. It's going to hold him back to some extent, but he is definitely playing average to above average quarterback play. He's playing starter level quarterback play. In the long term, can this be the recipe for the Panthers? Maybe, if they start to get guys excelling at other positions, if they have a absolute stand-up running back, if they have wide receivers that do crazy shit after the catch, and a defense that starts to really look good as well, which the defense is playing a lot better this year. This team is coming along. It is going to take time. And obviously, this team, We even talked about it when we were doing our analysis for this game. It seems like they play bad teams and they play really bad. And then they play good teams right there with them. This is a decent Bucks team who is severely underperforming, but this was a must-win type of game for the division for them, and they were able to go out there and get it done. So props to the Panthers for doing this. And the Bucks, they've lost all their steam from the beginning of the year. I said I thought Baker was going to come out and play angry, and he had yet another bad game. The passing game has not been working out for them. The fact that they aren't using Bucky Irving at all in the red zone pisses me off to no end. It's all Sean Tucker now as their red zone goal line back, which I like Sean Tucker, mix him in, but we're starting to see an issue like we saw up in Seattle where you're not using your best back in a situation that they would be good for. And the fall off of Emeka Egbuka through the second part of this year is wild. He looked like he was going to be right there for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and the second half of this year has just been terrible for Emeka. There's been injuries and stuff that I think are playing a role in holding him back. That passing offense just is not clicking right now.
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you ain't gonna fool me a second time. The reason that Baker's playing like shit is because his off shoulder is fucked up again. It's the same reason that he got booted out of Cleveland. He is injured and he is playing through it and he is not playing well. Now, I understand that your team is right there fighting for playoff contention. He is very clearly not the same guy he was at the beginning of the year. And this is now the second time we've seen this exact same shit play out for him. Baker has got to have to listen to his body every once in a while and be like, you know what? No, I'm fucking hurt. Now, is, 80% Baker Mayfield better than 100% Kyle Trask? Probably.
Is Trask even on that roster anymore? It's Teddy Bridgewater's the backup.
Is Bridgewater the backup?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's better than 80% Baker's better than 100% Bridgewater right now.
Yeah.
So it's tough for him to not want to play in these games. But I can tell you right now that the injury is playing a factor, and it's played a factor for this Bucks team all year. You had them pegged as one of the best teams. They've started out the season gangbusters. Mike Evans goes down. Fucking their offensive line, several injuries across it. Baker Mayfield. You get the defensive secondary just fucking tattered by injuries all throughout the year. It's really tough for this Bucks team. And now there's going to be questions about what does Baker's future look like in Tampa if it is in Tampa, because he's played them out of the playoffs.
I've been seeing this passed around online, on X, on Facebook, what have you, of Tampa fans saying he's not the guy. We need to move on. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Like, we've seen this before. He's the type of guy that people love to get behind. He's the type of quarterback you want on your team. Your whole team is injured, including him. It would be such a bad move to try to look elsewhere. And fans are just, we see the same thing in Minnesota. People love JJ, and now they're ready to move on from him because of injuries and some struggles while he's developing. Like, no one has patience. No one has patience. You need to have patience with some of these teams. If we moved on from quarterbacks as quick as people want to right now, where we're in the TikTok generation and you can just swipe to the next person.
Yeah. We'd have awful football.
It would be terrible, and we wouldn't see all of the Hall of Famers that we see out there wearing gold jackets. A lot of them did not start off well. A lot of them had rocky patches, and then they became who they are.
27 interceptions as a rookie by Peyton Manning. You know what? They just kept trotting his ass back out there. Like, he's going to figure it the fuck out. You gotta give these guys some time. You gotta let them have some time to develop. And that'll kind of move us into our next one as well, because guys that have finally started to hit the peak of where they could be in the Jags. Trevor Lawrence balls out again, gets a big time dub over the Broncos, who fall back down to they're now 12-3, but that they might not end up with the number one seed. They looked like they were going to kind of run away with that number one seed. I had the Broncos winning this game. Jags come out, get a big time win. Trevor Lawrence balls again. This is 3 weeks in a row now that he has played excellent, like MVP caliber type football to give his team just an a massive trajectory towards the playoffs right now. Sitting at 11-4.
Yeah, really good day from the Jags. I sat down and watched this game because I had a bunch of Broncos fans in the house at the time, and it was really good play from Trevor Lawrence. He was making all the passes when he needed to, despite being speared in the back after a play was technically called dead. It was a good day from Trevor Lawrence, a good complimentary day from this entire football team on the Jags. Defense played well. Yeah, they gave up a lot of yards to Bo Nix, but they didn't give up a whole bunch of volume as far as scoring. Really, really solid day overall from this Jags team. And RJ Harvey, probably his best game over there for the Bucs, receiving 71 yards receiving and another 50 on the ground with a touchdown. Good day from him where he's kind of showing a little bit more of how he can be a full-time type of back. I still think that obviously he's best suited in a rotational system, but he's got some good upside that we saw from him in the draft process this year. Another really good game from Cortland Sutton, but the really, really good defense that they have there in Denver at home just wasn't able to hold back the peak that the Jags are at right now and how good they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. Good for the Jags. I want a better pick. I want all of the picks. The Jets got me all fucked up that they're going to be able to control the next two
they're
drafts.
Diversified picks.
Yeah.
You're going to trade your high pick back, get a little bit more, and you're just diversified.
Hey, good on the Jags. Broncos still a damn good team. Listen, they ran into a team that played really well on the day. You're going to lose some games. That shit happens.
Yeah. Hey, next up, Atlanta Falcons, Arizona Cardinals, a bird game out here in Arizona. And it's looked like the Cardinals were playing up to this Falcons team where the Falcons were playing down to the Cardinals one way or the other because at halftime they went in tied, but the Falcons were able to do just enough in that second half in order to get the win. Big day from Bijan. Bijan, 76 yards on the ground running, another 92 through the air and a touchdown. Really good day from him. Kirk Cousins, a solid outing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, nearly 200 yards passing. The Falcons are kind of just that middling team right now, but they did beat up on an Arizona team that's not so good, and they really need to retool there in Arizona as far as the run game, as far as I'm concerned. Kind of a nothing burger game for us, though, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about here. The only thing that I want to bring up, Tyler Algier has another good game. I have really liked this kid. I thought that he would have a role in the offense. This is the last year of his contract. I think he can go and be a starter somewhere else. And what will that look like for the Falcons? Is that Bijan Robinson all the time? Or are they going to bring in another back to help take some of that load? But I think Tyler Algier, whose contract is up this year, can easily go out there and be signed by a team looking to sign a starting running back. Like the Kansas City Chiefs, bringing in a tough runner like Tyler Algier would make a fuckload of sense. So something that I'm on the lookout for in the offseason.
He's definitely that thumper style back, and I do think that you need more of the weapon to complement him as well. But he's shown that, in stretches where he's had to start, he can kind of carry the full workload. But you do need someone that brings a different dynamic than him.
And that's why I think the Chiefs would be the perfect fit. They've got Brashard Smith. They've got some young guys that I think can start to do some different type of things. So that's what I'm going to be on the lookout for. But Falcons fans, fucking told you guys were not good. It's been a tough year. Hopefully your quarterback situation gets worked out because that's where the problem lies. You got a lot of talent. It's just the quarterback situation. And then, can our defense show up on a week-to-week?
Fucking GM. And you fire the GM.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up.
Go ahead.
Pittsburgh Steelers. DK Metcalf. They go out there and they get the win versus the Lions. But ultimately, they kind of lose because of the DK Metcalf situation. They get the win in Detroit, 29-24. Another tough loss there for the Lions. And the Steelers are able to kind of maintain their slot there in the AFC North at 9-6. Mike Tomlin has secured yet another season going above 500. All they got to do is lose out to keep it close to 500.
Yeah. Aaron played better. Kenneth Gainwell has been a fucking weapon, dude. That catch, that PI, catching the ball on the ground, then getting up and scoring is insane. That's a Donald Driver type shit. Like it was so good. It was so cool to watch, but also shitty because it was the Steelers that were doing it. And I was talking with producer Amber. I think in the offseason, the Lions really need to address an offensive coordinator. I love Dan Campbell. I think he's a good coach. I don't want him as my play caller. And if I'm a Lions fan, I don't know that I want him as my play caller either. I think that a offensive-minded coach come in, be your offensive coordinator, who has called plays before possibly, would be great. They hired a guy this year to be that. And it didn't work out. Dan took over. So that's something that they're going to have to address this offseason because while I love Dan Campbell, he's not the guy I necessarily want to be my play caller. I think his role is best served as the leader of men.
Look, offensively, it is absolutely not sustainable to have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs and for your team to only put up 15 rushing yards.
They only ran the ball 12 times, dude.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. That's not what the bread and butter of this team is. I think it probably starts to lean in a little bit to the offensive line and the issues that they've had there. A lot of turnover through the center of that offensive line, and we saw that at the beginning of the year. This was one of the best offensive line units last year, and now this year they are nowhere near what they were before, and it's because of so much turnover there through the middle. They have a couple young guys who look talented, and I think will grow and develop into those positions, but it's not what they were last year, and it's obviously affecting their ability to keep that rock on the ground and control the game script. Like that was what made the Lions so good, was you do have a ton of weapons as far as receivers, but you're able to control that game by just pounding the rock. And while teams start to focus on the run, all of a sudden, all those really good playmaking weapons are available, open, and you can get good stuff happening. Jameson Williams had himself a decent game. Jahmyr Gibbs obviously really potent in the passing games, but Amon-Ra, we know how good of a receiver he can be, and he's kind of been middling.
Yeah, well, that was not OPI either, by the way. Not even close to fucking OPI.
No, but it's been a middling season for him, and I think a big part of that is because he's a guy who works in the open spaces. Those open spaces aren't there because the teams aren't having to focus on the run game as much. It's not pulling defenders down from the box down to the line of scrimmage, and Amon-Ra is good at working in the middle of the field in open spaces and then getting yards after the catch. And because those open spaces aren't as big, we're seeing a lot of less production from Amon-Ra. So they have to get that run game going better. They have to become more of that run-first team that'll open up all the weapon possibilities that they have in the passing game.
I agree. I don't have much else that I can say about it, man, because I feel like we're just saying the same thing. It's the way the game script is going, and that's all under offensive play call. It's just two different ways of saying the same thing, I feel like, because you love Dan just as much as I do, but the things that were able to happen with that offense last year with Ben Johnson calling plays, big difference here. And Jahmyr Gibbs has not looked like the weapon that Jahmyr Gibbs is over the last few weeks.
Yeah. All right, next up, Raiders and Texans. This game was actually pretty fucking close. Very surprising how close this one was. But the Texans ultimately were able to come out and get the win 23-21. That's a little bit scary if I'm a Texans fan. We're getting close to playoff time, and you allow one of the worst teams in the league, the Raiders, to nearly take it to you at home. That's worrisome.
Yeah, their defense played okay. The Raiders probably played one of their better offensive games of the year, though. Ashton Janty, being able to go for over 100 is great. Obviously, rips off the long one, 51 yards, to make it look that good. But their offense for the Raiders was able to maintain the ball long enough that they could keep this thing close, very similar to the Browns game. And then the Texans, their offense was not explosive, really, at all this game. Where over the last couple of weeks, we've seen them make some big-time explosive plays that really can kind of open up their offense. And that didn't really happen here. So,
Woody Marks not playing this game was a big factor.
Huge factor, yeah.
You're playing Jawar Jordan, who, I obviously brought him up, in recent weeks because he kind of had a pop-off game enough that they ended up signing him to the active roster. Well, he goes out there as your starting back, essentially, with Nick Chubb. But Chubb is what he is at this point. and was able to get 33 yards on the day. But Jawar Jordan,
yeah, well, his longest carry was 30 yards, and he had 33 yards on the day. So Nick was not effective. Love the guy, not effective.
And Jawar Jordan, for as good of a story that it was a couple weeks ago, like he isn't there to be the lead guy. You're thrusting him into a role really quick, whereas Woody Marks has definitely worked himself more into that role. It would have been a different game on the ground if Woody Marks has been out there, and it probably just completely threw off their script of what they were planning to do for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm sure they're happy they get a win. Let me look at this playoff standings real quick because they are very close. They're on the cusp of making the playoffs at the moment, I believe. Oh, they are in. They are the 7th team.
Mm-hmm.
So they will make it into the playoffs. The Colts are done, I believe, at this point. And the Ravens, they're not making a wild card team. They'll either win the division or they won't make it. So it looks like Houston is in no matter what, kind of, unless they just have a catastrophic collapse.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
All right, next up, our Sunday night game, Patriots and Ravens. Patriots get the win 28-24. Interesting decisions from the Ravens there, not playing Derrick Henry at the end of the game. A lot of questions being brought into that from the media. Why wouldn't you play this guy who ran for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns and looked like he was helping to carry your team to a victory, and you sit him out?
That's what I thought was
at the end
happening.
of the game. Very interesting, but a huge day from Drake May. Really good game there. 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Very low Trevion Henderson day. Sucks for fantasy owners in the playoffs who decided to play him after he's been doing really good recently. And then Stephon Diggs. You know, it's prime time. Stephon Diggs blows up in prime time every time. We need to remember this for when we make bets. Because if it's a primetime game, Stephon Diggs has himself a fucking game. He wants to make his Cardi B proud.
Hell yeah. Listen, I get it. She's so hot. But anyways, Drake played fucking phenomenal, dude. 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Kind of battled back because I felt like like you were saying, the Ravens kind of had this thing put away, it felt like almost. Like they could have just run the ball and I think they would have come out with a win. But they battled back. Patriots get a big-time dub. Puts them right back in a tie for first place in terms of record for the playoffs. I believe Broncos own the tiebreaker, so still some things that could happen there. Now, if the Patriots lose this game, it's probably almost impossible with a tiebreaker to get the number 1 seed. But because the Broncos lose, they win. Same records. Broncos have tiebreaker. Entirely possible. Patriots could still get that number 1 seed. I'm hoping that the Jags don't. I mean, I'm not sure that that's even possible at this point. But
I mean, it's absolutely possible if Jackson wins out and you start to have some collapse here from the Patriots and Broncos.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
It's possible, but not. I wouldn't say likely. Yeah, not with how those teams are playing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously their records are what they are. But a good win for the Patriots. Ravens fighting last 2 weeks. They're going to need help and a win to make it into the playoffs.
And at some point in time, we have to see good quarterback play.
Well, we saw 2 quarterbacks playing this one. Huntley and fucking Lamar were in there.
Yeah, and it was just mediocre. It was whatever. So, like, we need to see MVP Lamar back if they want to have any chance of getting into the playoffs. And then if they make it to the playoffs, you have to see MVP Lamar again for them to actually be a good team, it seems like.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, he has to ball. And that's really tough for him to ask your quarterback to do every fucking week. But that'll take us to our last game. We had 49ers get a huge win over the Colts. Like I said, Brock Purdy balled. He's my off-the-hook player of the week. 295, 5 touchdowns, and a pick. 49ers do what they do, man. They are methodical with everything that they do. They don't necessarily gash you for huge chunks all the time, but they will just pick and pick and pick and pick until they wear you the fuck down. Shanahan is a phenomenal coach. And the Colts, they're a good team. They were a really, really good team earlier in the season before injuries caught up to them. I mean, that's all I can really say.
Injuries and Jonathan Taylor has been absent. Like, teams have figured out, okay, there's issues at quarterback. Obviously, with Phillip Rivers, you know that they aren't going to be hitting as like they were in the beginning of the year. But then once Daniel Jones started to get some of those injuries, they figured out, okay, if we can stop this run game, put it all on the quarterback's shoulders, they're not going to be as good as they were at the beginning of the year. Jonathan Taylor just had such a down past like 5 games where it looked like he could have been fighting for that at least offensive player of the year, but possibly MVP. And it has just kind of gone away these past like 5 weeks, which really limits that team. Look, shout out to Phillip Rivers for playing the game that he did at 44 with over 277 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's great. Like, really fucking good play. That's better than a lot of other quarterbacks in the league, right? Also, the uniform did not do him. Like, I texted you and Amber last night. This is not doing him any favors. That dude looked like he had a hell of a pot belly with that flak jacket, the rib protector pushing out even further. Just looked like he was an old guy standing on his lawn with that pot belly sticking out there watching the game, being all upset. They played a decent game. The Colts played a decent game, but the 49ers they made all of their offensive weapons hit. Brock Purdy, 5 passing touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, over 100 yards rushing and another 29 through the air. Juwan Jennings and George Kittle, huge receiving days. They had all of their offensive pieces clicking.
Yeah, they really did, man. And when that team gets moving like that, they're really hard to stop because one play works off the next, works off the next, works off the next. That's the great thing about Shanahan's offense is once it starts working, everything looks the fucking same, and you can't tell what's coming, and they just can pick you apart. So you have to respect the designs, the play calling, all of that. 49ers, very, very good team. But my man, that's going to wrap it up for the recap. But we got some games we got to get into because we got a busy day coming up on Christmas.
Christmas lights. Yeah, Christmas we got lights. Christmas right around the corner. We are obviously going to be spending time with our families. We'll probably be on the socials talking shit as we normally do about the sports games that are going on. But Christmas is right around the corner. We got 3 games going on 2 days from now, and we're going to start off with our first one. We get all of our lines off of FanDuel, not a sponsor. Absolutely could be if they want to. But this is as of the 23rd where the lines are at right now. We have the Dallas Cowboys going into Washington versus the Commanders. Cowboys are favored on the road, -7 points at -105 odds, over under of 50.5. Mike, thoughts on this one? I feel like that over under might be a little bit high just because Dallas, I think, is going to, even though it's a divisional game, they're going to play good. They're going to have a good offense, but they're going to get out to such a far lead that they might not have to do much in the second half. Where are you going in this game?
Man, so 7 feels like a lot because the Commanders are still actually trying to play and they're scrappy, and we saw the Cowboys kind of lay one down this last week. 50.5 feels like way too many in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. With the way things are, anybody who's banged up at this point, I don't know if they're going to make it through the week. They're going to might not be playing. We're at that point in the year. So dropping 7 sounds like just a terrible idea. Taking 7, I kind of like, though. I don't know that this Commanders team is any good, really, but they have not laid down. I mean, we talked about it earlier in this game, right? Like, they have still competed. They get a win last week. They fucking fought hard against the Broncos team. 27-26. I'm going to take the points here. I'm going to take +7 for the Commanders. I'm calling it a day.
All right. I'm going Dallas on the money line. They're a better team, the better offense. I think we're still going to see guys specifically like George Pickens go out there, and despite the season's over, he knows he's got 2 more games to put on a resume before a big payday. So the more that he goes out there and balls out, the bigger that paycheck's going to be. I expect him to have some big days. That Dallas offense is really good. Dallas on the money line for me.
Okay. Listen, I get it. They're obviously very heavily favored in this one. Money line's -330. But that'll take us to our second game of the day. Lions at the Vikings. Vikings, the home dog. Lions are -5.5. Over under 44.5. Evo, I'm gonna let you take it away on this one, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't know if JJ McCarthy's going to play. Odds are that he won't unless injury news has popped off about him yet. And if that's the case, it'll be Max Brosmer out there. I think Max Brosmer can run the offense. I think he's got, obviously good weapons. We saw some good stuff from him last week. And the Vikings went into Detroit and beat the Lions earlier this year. That being said, I'm taking Detroit on the money line here. Without JJ out there, and I assume he's not going to be able to play, it's not that I don't necessarily have faith in Brosmer, but I'm not expecting a high volume passing attack. The one susceptibility to Brian Flores' defense this year has been the run game. With how bad the run game was for Detroit last week, Dan Campbell for sure will emphasize the run game, and I think is going to lean into it very heavily this week in practice going up to this game. And it's a short week. Running concepts are easier to install in a short week than it is passing, where you're doing a deep dive into the other team and their secondary. So I think that's going to be a big part of the game for Detroit. So I'll take Detroit on the money line. Again, I would love, if JJ could play, I would love for us to play spoiler to this Detroit team and any chances of the playoffs for him. I just don't think that it's a recipe for success in this one. Unfortunately, I think we're probably going to drop one at home on Christmas.
Listen, I'm following suit there. Lions money line, and the fact that JJ is not playing. From what I've seen of Max Brosmer, I'm not sold. Like, I know that you thought he played much better, but that first game when he was thrust into the starting role
versus Seattle was terrible.
It was fucking awful. And I mean, if that happens again, I don't expect that he'll play that bad, but I don't expect him to play very good either. So the Lions on the money line really feels like the right play, especially since we don't know who's playing quarterback for you guys.
Yeah. All right. And lastly here, Denver Broncos versus Kansas City at home in Kansas City, which isn't going to be their home for long. There's another interesting conversation that we can have.
Yeah.
Are we about to have the Gary Bears? The Gary Indiana Bears? Because apparently they're looking at moving out of Chicago to Gary, Indiana, where my dad was born and also Michael Jackson was born. So real interesting there. Conversations for future shows. But yeah, Kansas City sounds like they're going to be looking at new stadium here before too long. And hopefully that'll be part of their rebirth and rebrand as they get healthy in future seasons, because this is a bad team. That's why the line here is Kansas City plus 12.5 points at -105 odds. You can drop those points for the Broncos at -115 odds. Over under of 36.5. Look, it's Kansas City. It could be snowy. It could be cold. We got a Kansas City Chiefs team that is absolutely beat to shit and just had a clunker versus the Titans. And then you have the Broncos, who statistically, record-wise, are one of the best teams in the AFC going in there. And they do still need to go out and win games to try to secure that one seed. It's pretty obvious here to me. And yes, that normally is a bad sign when things are obvious, but it's pretty obvious here to me that the Broncos are the better team here. I don't know that they can go out there and beat up another team by over 12.5 points, and that's why I'm taking the Broncos on the money line. But they are a 12.5 point or more better team right now than the Chiefs. So I'm just going to stick with the easy play, Denver on the money line, and call it a day from there.
All right. So that over-under is kind of calling my name, but I just started the show with, man, I never get these fucking right. 36.5 is so low. Like, the Chiefs, can they score any fucking points? That's where the question comes in, because that's what the difference in this is. We expect the Broncos to score a lot of points. That's why they're fucking.
Is the quarterback is a guy that we don't know.
Exactly.
And we know a lot of backups. We even know a lot of third stringers. This was a guy that we're just kind of unaware of.
How do you say his name? Did you figure it out?
No, I'm guessing. Olodokun? Something like that. I would have to pull it up again to try to phonetically get this.
No, don't worry about it. Olodokun. So, man, it makes it really tough. I want to take the over because that seems so low, but can the Chiefs score at all? I don't know. But you are right that the Broncos are at least 12.5 points better than the fucking Chiefs. The Titans were 12.5 points better than the goddamn Chiefs. So I'm going to drop the 12.5 points here. I'm going to go risky. Broncos minus 12.5.
All right, Denver minus the 12.5. And that'll wrap it up for our Christmas games. We got 2 games that'll happen on Saturday, but the plan is for us to get you another show probably on Saturday where we go over those games and then all the rest of the games for Sunday and Monday. But with that, I think that wraps it up here for our little holiday episode.
Hell yeah, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody who does and did. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. I'm going to give my man Evo one last word, then we're going to get the fuck out of here until Saturday when we gamble on week 17. Evo, go ahead, brother.
Hey, Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Happy holidays from us here at Raw Dog Sports. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving us the present of your viewership and supporting us throughout this entire year. We hope you have a happy and healthy holidays. Enjoy yourself. If you're alone and you need someone to talk to, obviously you can always hit us up. There's people out there that want to talk to you. So make sure to try to reach out to some people. And other than that, have a happy holidays. Be safe, be merry, and we will see you here in several days on Saturday.
Absolutely, brother. Well said. Merry Christmas to you and your family, everybody else out there. No matter what you celebrate, whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, who gives a shit? Happy holidays to you all. Thank you very much. But with that, we are going to get the fuck out of here. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is Raw Dog Sports. See ya.